What's up, War Report family? You got Ike Jones. We are here. It's the midweek report, and it is week 4 of the SEC season. We're going to talk about all the games coming up this weekend, as well as previewing Auburn versus Arkansas. Let's get straight to it on this edition of the midweek report. We're in here Wednesday talking a little more about SEC football, Auburn football as well. We are on the midweek report brought to you by the folks at the Rage Room. 2 selections for you there. Birmingham, Opelika. Get your rage on. 1510 2nd Avenue in Opelika or 2616 7th Avenue South in Birmingham. They got axe throwing over there in Birmingham location in case it's not enough to break things. You can also split things open with an axe. Just wood on the wall. That's all that you're allowed to throw the axes at. Wood. Yeah, that's it. Yep. If you're throwing axes at anything else, you will likely be arrested. So, but make sure you go check them out. Great sponsors if you have some anger issues. This is a good way to get your anger out and not harm other people. If you are out there watching us on any of the places, make sure you are sharing the content with somebody out there at the Warport so that we know you do that. And like the video, subscribe to the channel, all those things. If you're not subscribed to the channel, then you're not going to be able to get in on some of the great things that we have going on with the Warport. Mike G can tell you more about all of them.
Yeah, you guys know the deal already. Become a member. Become a member right now. Just do it. Don't ask any questions. Just hit the join button and let your credit card be deducted for $5.99 for the foreseeable future. This is a great way to help keep our content going. If you like a lot of this stuff that we're doing, we're on a War Report Everywhere campaign. So everywhere you turn, the War Report is producing great content for you guys, whether it's here on some of our sister channels that we work with. But we're doing a lot of great work. We appreciate everybody for supporting us. You can also give the gift to the War Report by hitting that gifted membership button. $5.99 a month, you can give that gift. And if you interact with our channel, you're in the chat right now, and you don't have a green name, you can get one gifted to you. So check your email because you might be on the receiving end of one of these memberships. Let's see if we can get 50 given away tonight. We did a good job on the last live cast. Guys, check us out on podcasts, every single podcast network. The War Report is there, bringing you lots of great audio-only content. And last but certainly not least, this segment is brought to you in part by JOYMODE. So let's call out the obvious. Everyone wants to head into the bedroom with confidence, feeling like the best version of themselves. But the problem is sometimes our intrusive thoughts get in the way of our performance, or maybe we feel like we're not just reaching our full potential. What are our options? Pick up a sketchy gas station pill or get prescribed a drug with a long list of side effects. That's where our friends at JOYMODE come in. Imagine a supplement you can take like your favorite greens packet that gives you that extra dose of confidence. I know we all need a little bit more confidence in our daily lives and saves you the embarrassment and hassle of that other stuff. Visit tryjoymode.com and use code REPORT to get 20% off plus free shipping. Saving lives over there at JOYMODE.
I don't know whose life has been saved by JOYMODE, but hey, if your life was in danger and JOYMODE was the remedy for it, then you lead an interesting life, my friend.
You do.
All right. As always, we are going to get into these weekly games here within the SEC. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a snooze fest for like half of the games this week in the SEC. What's the first game that we got available here, B. Will, to talk about?
Top to bottom as available.
Florida playing Mississippi State. I don't want to start with no SEC games. Let's start with the bull crap ones. Like somebody's playing Kentucky versus Ohio. Yeah, let's talk about this. and say Kentucky's a weird team this year, right? Like they look like crap versus South Carolina. Then they take Georgia down to the wire. I mean, they're not going to lose to Ohio, but still, they're just a weird team this year. They're going to win this game. But you guys have any thoughts on Kentucky so far this season?
My thought is that they're going to win this game. They put up a great show last week defensively versus Georgia. Weirdly, they kind of weirdly played Georgia tough in spots at times.
Yeah.
So they scared Georgia. I knew Georgia was going to pull that game out last week.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Kentucky was ever.
Yeah, it just did feel like they were going to win it 13-12. Was it 2 years ago that they lost? No, it wasn't Kentucky. But look, Georgia is still the best team in the country. And I was pulling it up here, but our guy over at SEC Unfiltered, Chris, I mean, he still has Georgia #1 in his power rankings, and I think deservedly so. Kentucky took a little bit of a hit this week, so they certainly dropped. He dropped Kentucky all the way down to 13th, below the Auburn Tigers, where they belong.
I mean, after that showing against Georgia, he dropped them that far, or were they already down there?
Yeah, he dropped them. Okay. Like, so week 3, he had Kentucky. Oh, I take that back. I stand corrected. Kentucky did not move.
Oh, okay. All right. That sounds about all right.
Yeah. If I'm looking at this correctly, Kentucky was at 13 and they stayed at 13.
All right. That sounds a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Sense.
Yeah. Auburn was a big mover.
All right. Oh, I mean, he seems to believe in Hank Brown. When we will definitely talk about that a little bit more. But is anybody picking Ohio for the upset here?
Nah, we got Kentucky in this one.
All right. Next up, UL Monroe takes on Texas. This will be an absolute bloodbath. Yeah, Does anybody have UL Monroe scoring points in this? Like, right.
Yeah.
The only question here is the spread. Is Texas going to score enough?
What does Arch Manning look like in what would be his first full start? Right, like
he looked pretty good in this.
He burned it up last week.
Yeah.
Sarkisian came out and said this is still Quinn Ewers' team.
It should be,
but Arch. Ooh, man, he was. I saw a graphic where they were talking about how fast he was compared to like Tyreek Hill or something. Did you guys see that?
No, that's
was the only way to see that.
Yeah, who was comparing his speed to Tyreek Hill.
It was a weird thing. There was like max miles per hour or something like that. One of them types of things.
All right, settle down.
Too much, man.
Settle down.
And then Chris has got Texas too in his power rankings. So yeah, I'm going with Texas here. Big, they cover. UL Monroe gets destroyed.
All right, another boring game. Bowling Green is going to play Texas A&M. Texas A&M is now the 25th ranked team in the country, which I found interesting.
Why are they?
Because they that's all I got for you, bro.
It's all. It's so absurd.
All right, that's literally all I have. I have no idea.
You know what? Malcolm Johnson Jr. now plays for Bowling Green.
He does.
Yeah, he played well last week.
He did.
This is Bowling Green's second SEC opponent, isn't it? Didn't they play somebody else? Or is this just their second P5 game?
I think it's the second P5. It might be the third one. I don't know.
Let me see. I could tell you. They played Penn State. Last
that's who they scared the hell out of.
And they lost 34-27.
Yeah.
So he had 8 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown against Penn State.
So is anybody giving Bowling Green a chance to pull the upset here at Kyle Field?
Yes, I'm picking Bowling Green.
I don't know who they are defensively, and that's really the question.
Who are you saying you don't know?
I don't know who Bowling Green is defensively. I mean, Mike Elko has. I mean, he kind of working with what he got, but I don't know. I know they aren't great offensively. Texas A&M is not, and maybe Bowling Green can put up points, but I don't know if Bowling Green can just shut down SEC school. Penn State has looked bad offensively like 2 out of every 3 games they play since James Franklin has been there, so it's not a surprise that they struggled for 3 quarters against Bowling Green, but I don't know if I'm not taking – I wouldn't take Texas A&M to cover, but I don't think –
Yeah, 23 is a lot. I don't see them covering. Texas A&M still trying to figure out their quarterback situation.
Right.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to take Texas A&M in this game, but I don't think it's going to be easy for the Aggies to get out of there with a dub. All right. Another snooze fest of a game. Akron taking on South Carolina. A little more interesting because likely Robbie Ashford will be getting the start in this game. They don't have to do availability reports, but it
Because it's
does
not
seem
an
as if
SEC game, right?
right, yeah,
Okay.
but it does seem as if it's going to take a little bit longer for Lenore Sellers to get back, and this is a game I think that they can say to themselves, we can go to the backup quarterback and be okay from a talent standpoint. Akron traveling to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks.
South Carolina got screwed versus LSU.
They 100% did get screwed.
In so many different ways. It was worse on rewatch. It was. There was Robbie threw a great pass down the field that they called pass interference on. I didn't see the interference.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal pass and catch.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the interference like. It was on the opposite side of the field with a receiver that was like literally doing nothing. Like
I
it was a
didn't
terrible
understand
call.
it. Yeah, but that wasn't even the most egregious thing. The most egregious thing to me was the personal foul
On the pick six.
Yeah, like that likely cost them the game.
Yeah.
And the QB is a defender. So I know people are saying, "Oh, but they got rid of that blindside block." And so what's
But
he
he
supposed
didn't
to do?
like he pushed him with two hands. He didn't put his shoulder into him. It was crazy. I think because the quarterback fell down, they were like, "Oh, somebody must have did something wrong. Throw a flag. Quarterback can't get hit in this league."
Look, I'm picking South Carolina, but there's still a lot of clear holes in Robbie's game from my perspective. You know, he did some good things, but he also sat in the pocket, held on to the ball. He got sacked a couple times. You know, there's some things that he's got to get better quickly if he wants to make that quarterback room a discussion. And here's your chance versus Akron. You got to go out and you have to versus Akron. You're a 28-point favorite. You don't get a lot of chances. You know, I talked about this with Hank Brown, not with Hank Brown, but about Hank Brown, about how few chances you get as a backup, let alone a third string quarterback coming off the previous year to start at this level. So now it's do or die time for him. If he wants to be a quarterback at this level, go out there and play a good game and throw the ball and make good decisions. And, looking forward to seeing what they can do. I think South Carolina as a team is a lot better than a lot of people anticipated.
Their defense is definitely better.
Yeah, they're better than people anticipated. But, you're not going to win many games if you don't get solid quarterback play, so he's got to play well.
Justin, we will firmly disagree that was the right call about them blocking the quarterback. Like, no. We'll firmly disagree on that one. If you can't touch the quarterback at all, then just let's put flags on. Put
an orange jersey on them. Yeah. Like
the bloodbath of the weekend, probably Georgia Southern versus Ole Miss. Who has the larger discrepancy in points this week? Texas or Ole Miss?
Didn't Georgia Southern just beat somebody? Was it Vandy?
No, Georgia State beat Vandy.
That was Georgia State.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ole Miss they're gonna wipe them up. I think Ole Miss probably wins by more.
Then Texas versus UL Monroe?
Yeah. Probably. Lane likes to run it up. Lane likes to run it up, though.
He does. That's true. Lane definitely likes to run it up.
That's the difference. Lane likes to run it up. He knows he's going to need it.
And so, I would assume that if Texas is up, I don't even know who the third string quarterback is at Texas. So if they're up big, they're going to be putting in their third string quarterback. And is that person as prolific? Because if it were Quinn Ewers going to Arch Manning, then you would still just get another dynamic. It's Sark's offense. I'm assuming he still has a really good third string QB, but I tend to agree with that. I think Ole Miss wins by a bigger margin in this game, but Texas has looked absolutely ridiculous on both sides of the ball so far this season.
So far, yeah.
All right, let's get to some games that are at least semi-interesting. We'll start with the one last game that has a non-SEC opponent, and that is LSU taking on UCLA.
I don't even know what UCLA has done this year. They're 1-1. Who did they play? They lost to Indiana 42-13, and they beat Hawaii 16-13.
Oh yeah, LSU is dog walking them.
LSU
LSU is dog walking them.
They're finna stomp a hole in them boys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking LSU. Is anybody as impressed with Nussmeier as I am?
I thought Garrett Nussmeier was going to be good.
He's okay. He's good. I mean, he's not bad, but he's not like he's a step down from what they had. But what they had was a Heisman winner. So
yeah, the issue right now for me with LSU's offense is the run game. They were starting to find it with Emory, and then he got hurt, and now they got another freshman kid in there. I can't remember what his name is, and he played well in spurts last week. But they've got to find some balance in their offense because as good as I think Nussmeier is, because he is not a runner, their run game is not going to be as effective as it was last year because Jaden Daniels just gave you another element of being able to escape pressure and get yardage if you needed to, specifically in those third and medium or short, 3rd and 5, 6 or less situations. You had to play a way different kind of defense than you do versus Garrett Nussmeier. So they got to figure out their run game before they're going to be prolific. And they do just they're like weird in game, like the USC game. They had like the weird turnovers and stupid penalties. This game versus South Carolina, they had the block punt. Like it's just weird stuff be happening with LSU this year. They feel kind of undisciplined in spots, but this UCLA team doesn't seem like they're very good. So LSU should win this game.
Yeah, they should.
All right. The team that nobody really cares about, or the two teams I should say that nobody really cares about in the conference right now, Florida taking on Mississippi State.
Boy, this is a pillow fight if I ever saw one.
I don't even know what to think about this game because Mississippi State has looked very uneven this year. Like they can score points, but then all of a sudden they just stop scoring points. And Florida looks like they don't even want to be there most Saturdays.
Man, I don't think I've ever seen a worse case, maybe an equally as bad case in some places, a worse case of dead man walking for a coach than Billy Napier like this.
Yeah. Did he get a 1 week reprieve? I mean, I heard what the board of trustees like met or something, and they were supposed to. Yeah, I mean that's what they were reporting. But
this feels
Tuesday,
like
this
feels like Harsin.
Yeah,
this feels like the Harsin situation where it was like he was all but fired, and then they were like, "All right, we're gonna let you get through the bye week."
Yeah. We're gonna.
And then they came out of the bye week and got mud.
Yeah, and that was it. Yeah.
Arkansas beat the brakes off of them. They was like, "All right, we've seen enough."
That's it.
Wait, do y'all think Florida can actually lose this game?
Yes. I think they could, but I say they win it.
All right, so if they lose it, do we get a Billy fired, don't come back to Gainesville type thing?
When is Georgia's bye week?
Georgia's bye week.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me, Florida's bye week.
It should be the week before the Georgia game, and Georgia should be the same, right? Before they play in Jacksonville.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm pulling it up right now. I got it right here.
If their bye week is after this game and they lose, it might be a wrap, bro.
Their bye week is after this game.
Yeah, if they lose this game, he's done.
Yeah. Their bye week is the 28th, and they don't because after Mississippi State they play UCF on the 5th. Yeah. Okay.
This is a wrap for him.
Yeah, this makes sense, right? Just wait till the bye week.
Yeah.
If he wins it, you give him one more.
Matter of fact, if they win this game and it's too close, he might still be up out of there.
Right, but here's the deal: you go your stretch after that is UCF, Tennessee, and Kentucky, and then you get another bye week. So they could reassess at that bye week as well too.
Yeah, there's no way he survives those 3 games without losing 2 of them, though.
Do you want to let him go to signal to whoever the future coach is that the job is open, or like?
Oh, they already started reaching.
Listen, I learned this lesson with us and Harsin. I was like, man, you can't fire him that early in the season, man, because you know he done it. Like, nah, bro, just go and get it over with.
You can't.
Just go ahead and get it over with, so people can know the job is open and you know what? Low key. I'm hoping they do it early enough that Lane Kiffin, if he's on the list, stops caring about his Ole Miss situation and he blows it. I mean, because I've been looking for Lane Kiffin to blow it this season, and that'll be the perfect reason for him to do it.
Yeah, you're 21st in recruiting right now. Yeah, for 2020, you only have 14 commits recruited. Committed right now. Like, I don't, and I was making this point earlier in the season when we were talking about Florida, and you don't even have recruiting to hang your hat on.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Right?
Mm-mm.
Like, was it Waller that Auburn took from them?
Yes.
Jamonte Waller. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, you're losing recruits to other schools. You've got Texas and Oklahoma in the conference now. Yeah, you are losing on every single front right now with Billy Napier. And to change that narrative, I just don't know what it would take, because he's going to be even more bereft of talent after this season. So, do you just start over? Like, you know what I mean? Is he fired no matter? Does it matter how he does? Like,
Unless he just won every game really big from now until like,
which is not going to happen.
right?
This
Like
team
you would have
does
to
not
go on a
have it.
run.
he would have to go on a crazy run and finish with like 9, 10 wins. And I mean, I just don't know. I don't know how you inject life back into this program at this point. Are recruits saying, "Yeah, I want to go play for that guy right now"? No,
They're not. No,
they're not. Yeah, dead man walking. So, look, yeah, they'll put it off. They'll make sure it's as publicly tenable as possible when they fire him by waiting to see what happens in this game. If he wins it, maybe you give him another week and then you let him get through the next 3 games, which are against opponents that they should not be favored against, right? Like, I think Gus is undefeated to start the season so far, but UCF, Tennessee, Kentucky. Yeah, and look, man, if he gets 2 of those 3, maybe he makes it through the second bye week.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
but you lose 2 of the 3, you're definitely fired at the next bye week.
You gone, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, who are you taking in this one, B? Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm just like,
you know what? I'm gonna
a
say
coin.
Mississippi State. I'm gonna say Mississippi State. I'm giving them a shot. I'm gonna say Mississippi State,
I'm picking
especially after
Florida.
they laid down last week. Mississippi State did. They got beat handily, embarrassed. So we'll see if what's the head coach? The guy came from Ole Miss, right? Levy? Was it Levy?
Levy, yeah.
We'll see how much of effect he can have as a coach rallying the troops. Because some of that is like all coaching. You might not be a good team, but that don't mean for 1 week your coach can't say, damn it, we're better than this, and put it on. They'll get up for 1 game. So we'll see if he can do it. I'm betting he can. Mississippi State.
I think I'm going to take Florida in this one, even though I don't think that they're very good. I don't know that Mississippi State's physical enough, and Florida, it feels like what you got to be able to do against Florida is be a little physical, and if you are, then they're done. So I'm gonna take Mississippi State reluctantly. Like, I don't have any confidence in them winning this game because I just don't think that they're very good team.
I'm sorry, you taking Mississippi State or Florida?
I mean Florida. I'm taking Florida
Okay.
in this game.
Oh, okay.
I reluctantly, because I don't think they're a very good team. But I'll take Florida. All right. Another. This would have been interesting if last week hadn't happened, and now you have to wonder what's actually going on in Nashville.
They were so close to hitting the over through 3 weeks, and now they can lose out.
They'll beat somebody else. I hope it's not us. Vandy will get another win.
Yeah,
Vandy get another win.
Yeah,
That's what we thought last year too, and then they
got to come to Jordan Hare this time.
Man, we just lost the cow, man. Different quarterback. I just don't want to make any assumptions about what cannot happen.
It ain't bad yet, B. It ain't that bad.
I do think Vandy will cover though.
In this game?
Yes. Missouri wins, Vandy covers. That's what I pick.
Oh, I like Missouri. I'm not picking against Missouri in this one. Vanderbilt.
Yeah, no, I don't think Vanderbilt pulls an upset in this game. Missouri, I think, has just got too much firepower. I want to agree with you on the cover though. Here, I think they might be able to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Last time Ike went up to Nashville to cover Vanderbilt, their stadium was like under construction.
It's still under construction,
and that construction is like the perfect real life metaphor for their program. Perpetually under construction. Like, the job's never finished. They are always under construction.
Are they even working on it? Because that's
they
it's a condemned building. That's what their program is.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I'm going to take Missouri. But like I said, I actually would stay away from this over under and line completely just because I don't know. Game of the week to me, and we'll do this one last before we get over to the Auburn game. The game of the week, in my opinion, Tennessee versus Oklahoma.
This is Oklahoma's first SEC matchup.
It's that christening.
It's a home game. Tennessee's coming to town. Tennessee, I think, probably one of the better defenses in the conference right now.
Yeah.
Their quarterback is going crazy. They're putting up a lot of points. But Oklahoma's been up and down. Like they look good and then they look bad and then they look good again. I don't really know what to make of this Oklahoma team right now. Pass rush looks really good. The run defense has been kind of suspect in spots.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of them. Offensively, they looked bad a couple of weeks ago. They looked good last week. What are you guys' thoughts on this game?
I like Tennessee. Heupel's cooking right now. I'm not a big believer in Oklahoma. I think they've been a little bit underwhelming. Jackson Arnold maybe starting to come back down to earth a little bit. I like Tennessee. I know it's a home game for Oklahoma, but
it's a home game for Oklahoma. Josh Heupel, the former Oklahoma quarterback, coming back to coach against his alma mater and a team where he coached for a little while as an OC.
I'm waiting for Oklahoma's defense to look dominant because of Brent Venables' pedigree, but I haven't really seen it yet. I'm just a little concerned. It's like, if you're going to be good at anything.
And this was, listen, if you talk to Oklahoma people, which we have talked to a few of them, they thought the defense was going to be really good this year.
That concerns me, because if there's anybody who can put up points, it's Tennessee. I think Tennessee wins, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's close. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't touch the spread here, because Oklahoma's first true home SEC game, it might be in the atmosphere. And I think somebody noted over here, Nico's first true road game in the conference.
It is.
I think that stuff kind of matters.
Yeah, they've played on the road, but it hasn't been. This is his first SEC road trip.
Right. Yeah, I think Tennessee wins. They look significantly better than Oklahoma at this point. But hey, this is weeks like 4 through 6. That's really when you find out who's who and what's what. So, assuming everything holds, I'm going to say Tennessee, because that's the common sense pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go Tennessee in this one as well, because I believe in Tennessee's defense. I actually think that Tennessee's got a legit defense this year, and Oklahoma's offense has not been spectacular. They have been okay, and I don't think that you can just be okay and win this football game versus Tennessee. So I'll take Tennessee.
Yeah. Fair. For sure.
All right, that's it. Those are all the games for this weekend. Georgia and Bama are both on bye weeks this week, and so we'll see what happens with those guys next week. I was on the before we're going to transition here into talking about our game, but I go on the SEC teleconference every week, and I just sit and I listen, because I'm usually at work. I just sit and I listen to them ask questions and all that. First and foremost, the coaches hate doing this. They absolutely hate going on this teleconference. They hate sitting there listening to people ask them questions. But Steve Sarkisian's kind of a jerk. he doesn't.
That's not new.
He doesn't even try to hide it that he doesn't want to be there. Like, every time somebody asks him a question, he's like, I don't really want to talk about that. No. Like, it's funny every single time, though. But a couple of coaches have really good personalities, and I mentioned that because we're about to start to talk about Arkansas, and Sam Pittman's just a generally good guy, man. I think Sam Pittman's a really good guy, man. Anyway, that's it, man. That's it for the picks. Y'all got any final thoughts on these games before we switch it over?
No, like you said, it's kind of a boring slate until you get to Oklahoma, Tennessee, I think.
Right.
So, we'll see how that goes. Where's game day going this week? Do we know?
I have no idea.
Maybe John knows. We'll ask John.
All right, let's get over here, take a quick break, and then we will get into the Auburn versus Arkansas game. You are watching the Midweek Report.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. The Opelika Rage Room in Opelika, Alabama. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Call or text 334-777-6688 to set up a session today, or check them out online at opelikaRageRoom.com. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
Guys, you already know the deal. Hit that join button. Join as a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. We appreciate our members in the chat. You guys are live right now, over 300 people. We know that will build now that we're getting into the conversation about Auburn versus Arkansas on the Plains. Also, you can hit that gifted membership button to give the gift of the War Report to somebody who's not made the decision to join up yet. The show is brought to you in part by our friends over at Manscaped. Fellas, you want your grooming routine to be a one-and-done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your balls are over thanks to our friends at Manscaped. They've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hairs trimmed from 12 to 6. Introducing the Beard and Balls Bundle, featuring the Lawnmower 5.0 and the Beard Hedger, a trimmer for the moneymaker and the boys downstairs. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code REPORT at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code REPORT at manscaped.com. Last but certainly not least, we want to thank our friends over at Autograph. You can see them at the bottom of the screen here. The Autograph is your one-stop source for the best news, tickets, scores, and swag to power your daily sports fandom. Being a fan is hard work. Let Autograph do the heavy lifting. Follow your favorite teams and leagues and get informed with the best articles, podcasts, videos, all in one place. Autograph is great. I've got a lot of great feedback, Ike, from our community. You can help us out by going to your phone's app store and downloading the Autograph app today. Every time news drops, every time an article is written, every time we drop a podcast, Autograph is letting you know. So you don't have to go to 15 different websites anymore for your content. The code is there on the screen. And if you're watching on your TV, this QR code in the corner, you can scan that with your camera and it will take you to the app store and automatically populate our referral code in there so they know. We need 100 more of you guys to sign up this month. So if you're watching now and you have not done this yet, please do this. Help us out.
Yes, indeed. And as you guys know, as we do every single time, we are giving away tickets to the next game, which is going to be, well, not the next game, because the next game, of course, is Arkansas, but next week, Auburn takes on Oklahoma at home. So we're giving away tickets. If you haven't already put your comment over there in the community, then go do that. And you have to be present watching the show. And we will draw names at some point in time during this broadcast so that you all can be here with us at the game. I say here like I'm in Auburn and I'm not, but down at Auburn with us at the game, watching Auburn versus Oklahoma. And shout out to all the people who've won tickets so far this season. But let's get into the main event and let's talk about what everybody is really here for. And that is the first SEC game of the season, Auburn versus Arkansas, in the friendly confines of Jordan-Hare Stadium. Both teams coming in 2-1. This game is going to be at 2:30 Central Standard Time on ESPN. Auburn is currently favored by 3, which means this is basically a pick 'em. The over-under is 56.5. The ESPN Football Power Index has Auburn with a 59% chance of winning this game. Auburn leads the series between the two schools 20-12 with 1 tie. In the last meeting, of course, last year on November the 11th, Auburn won 48-10 in Fayetteville. Joining us to talk about this game, who has way more knowledge than we could ever pretend to have about the Arkansas Razorbacks, is John Neighbors, who is the host of Locked On Razorbacks. John, appreciate you jumping in here on the Midweek Report with us.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Most of the time I do interviews, it's during the day. So it's kind of nice for one that's later into the night that's more suited to my schedule. So, yeah, it works out perfectly, man. But I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you jumping in here. We're just going to talk a little bit more about the game. First and foremost, how do you feel like the team is embracing the idea of revenge? Because it's not the same team as last year, right? Like there are quite a few people who were not on this team that are going to be key factors in this game. Is revenge going to be a factor for the Arkansas Razorbacks coming into Jordan-Hare Stadium?
You know, if it was any other situation or any other game, I may say yes. But considering Arkansas hasn't really won very many SEC games over the past year and a half anyways, they'd have to take out a lot of revenge on a lot of different teams since that they've lost a lot of games.
It's good motivation then.
Yeah, but it's definitely a game that they got embarrassed on their home field last year. And that's something that you just can't have. There are a few players that were on that team, and even earlier this week, some of the players for Arkansas in their press conference, one of them being the offensive lineman, Fernando Carmona, it reiterated that, hey, it's like I wasn't on the team last year, but
yeah, he was a transfer from San Jose State. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and so he was like, hey, I wasn't on the team last year, but my brothers were, and they were very upset by the way that ended. So they're going to try to come out and be fired up, but as far as it being a revenge game, they just need to win an SEC game at this point in time.
John, what's the mood right now in Fayetteville around Sam Pitman? I got a chance to meet him at SEC Media Days. Stand-up guy, great guy. But it's been rough the last couple of years, and going into this one, if you had told me this was going to be a pick'em at the beginning of the season, I would have told you I was crazy. And we met a lot of people who cover Arkansas at media days, and they were pretty down on this game. Like, nobody was giving them a chance. Now you're going into week 4, and everyone's outlook is maybe a little bit different. You have that overtime game versus Oklahoma State. How are people feeling about the job that Sam Pitman is doing right now?
To be honest, not good. Not good at all. Listen, they had in that game in Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State's a good team. I mean, they're a top 25 team, and it's second game of the year going on the road, all of that. Doesn't matter. You should have won the game. You were the better team.
Arkansas was winning that game, and let them know that.
Like, you doubled them up in offensive yardage. You doubled them up, and you still couldn't find a way to win. And I think that's pretty much been the MO of Sam Pittman since he's been at Arkansas, at least over the past year and a half mainly, is that Arkansas has been notorious for finding the most incredible ways to lose games. They will play hard. Like, it's all backwards, for instance. Now, last year, Arkansas went on the road to LSU, lost by a field goal. Went on the road to Bama, lost by a field goal. Went on the road to Ole Miss, lost by a touchdown. Like, those are 3 of arguably the best teams in the SEC last year, right, and held them to their own. But at home, they get destroyed by Auburn. They get destroyed by Missouri. My brothers in Christ, I saw a game that ended 7-3 in regulation against Mississippi State. Like, it was just horrible. So it's like they perform so much better on the road, but they're terrible at home, and they still find ways to lose. So that's where Razorback fans have been like this for a while now, but it's more so than anything now where it's like, hey, we're not believing, we're not getting excited until we see it. We don't care. We don't care who you beat. We don't care how you do it. You got to get it done. But when it comes to SEC games, no one's going to believe that Arkansas is actually going to win until they actually win.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's the sentiment right now about Tauren Green? Let's talk about the Arkansas offense for a minute. You got the infamous new offensive coordinator there. Well, he's not new because he's been there before, but Bobby Petrino is back in Arkansas now as the offensive coordinator. And it's been a little uneven, right? Like, if we're being honest, it's been uneven for Tauren Green this season. He's like a 50-something% completion guy so far this year, thrown some absolutely atrocious interceptions in a couple of games, but his athleticism, undeniable. Definitely an asset to be able to be out there and just extend plays. How are you all feeling about the job Tauren Green's done so far through 3 games?
Well, I mean, we've seen the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and that's kind of been his thing. I mean, even when he was at Boise State, one of the things that kept popping up was his completion percentage. It wasn't good. And I think Razorback fans kind of expected that coming in, but people were also like, hey, Bobby Petrino is Bobby Petrino. The resume speaks for itself. He's coached some great quarterbacks. This is the guy he wanted. So what can be done by it? And it's like, you got to kind of mix the good with the bad. It's like, yes, he's going to make some mistakes with his throws, and you can't have the ball turned over. You can't throw bad picks. But at the same time, if you're willing to live with that, if on 3rd down and 8, when he's dropping back into the backfield and the pressure's on and he takes off running and gets a first down, right, like, you're willing to trade that off because Arkansas actually leads the SEC and one of the top teams in the country. Actually, they're number 1 in the country in 3rd down conversion percentage. And a lot of that is because of Tauren Green. Yeah. I mean, it's because of Tauren Green. So if you're Arkansas, you got a great running back at Quin Jackson, one of the best ones in the SEC, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's where I was going to talk about next, but continue.
Yeah, but when you got those 2 types of threats, focus on the rushing attack. And to me, that's going to be the biggest thing in this game for Auburn is that if they can slow down or at least shut down Arkansas's rushing attack, the pass game, it can be good. It can have plays, but it hasn't had any sort of consistency to have any faith in it.
Yeah.
Last week versus UAB, 11 for 26 for 161 yards, no touchdowns and an interception. But like you said, dangerous with his legs, 17 carries for 96 yards and 2 TDs on the ground. What does Auburn do here versus Tauren Green? Is this a load the box and force him to beat him with your arm kind of deal? Because that's what Auburn was dealing with Peyton Thorne, the last year and 3 games. How do you stop Tauren Green?
Yeah, that's the ultimate key, because if you're a defensive line or you're a defensive front and you're like, okay, so stack the box and just put the pressure on him. Well, the problem is that you definitely don't want to put too much pressure on him, because if he evades,
right,
which is really easy for him to do, he's off to the races and he's gaining 25 yards plus. So you got to be really cautious and careful. To me, if you're Auburn, you just got to, I think you just rush what you got and then drop guys back in coverage. And if you're not getting any sort of pressure on him, then maybe mix it up a little bit. But, Tauren's problem is he doesn't know how to throw the ball away when he needs to. And he also tries to make plays, which again, he can, but it ends up being costly. So forcing him to try to make a play or forcing his hand and trying to be a little bit of a hero on certain plays is going to be the best chance that Auburn has. So whatever that looks like, if that's just rushing everybody or if that's just stacking the box and, keeping it all in front of them, whatever it is, if they make Tauren Green feel threatened, have to do extra reads, whatever it is, that's when he is at his worst. So at least so far this year.
You talked about him already, but let's talk a little bit more about him. Quin Jackson, the transfer, is from Utah, right? Is where he came from. Mm-hmm. And he's been impressive. He's a workhorse type of back. He has been running behind his pads, and this offensive system really fits really well. I mean, you talk about an OC who knows what his personnel should look like to run his system. That's definitely Bobby Petrino. And he went and got a running back that was going to be able to step in for the loss of Rocket Sanders in the offseason. And I think he's looked better than Rocket Sanders has. And Rocket had some good, let me not act like Rocket Sanders isn't a good running back. I just think Quin Jackson has looked that good so far this year for Arkansas toting the rock. What are the sentiments around the run game, but Quin Jackson in particular?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what you said. I felt like when he decided to come to Arkansas, I knew a little bit about him, but a lot of people may not have known that he was a 4-star quarterback coming out of high school. He's from Texas. He was a quarterback, and he came to Utah as a quarterback, but he wasn't playing. But he was so big and kind of gained weight, they wanted to try him out at running back, and he's excelled at it. And I remember watching him in spring practice. And from the jump, first practice, I could tell him, like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be good. You could just, he's a monster. He's 6'3", 235 pounds. He has speed. He what I love about him, and it hopefully doesn't cost him. It's cost him some fumbles, and that's something he's got to work on. But what I love about him, and hopefully doesn't cost him, is that he loves contact. Absolutely. He loves just, if he sees a 5'11", 185-pound cornerback that's trying to tackle him, he's smiling about it. Like, he just loves to run people over and get after him like that. So when you do that once, then it kind of makes the defenders think twice about trying to take him on one-on-one. But he's incredible. I mean, he's got 2 touchdowns per game on the ground. He's averaging 8.4 yards a carry. He's just a monster. He's a load. And right now he's the best player on Arkansas's offense. And that's when I was talking about Auburn and previewing them and kind of going back to what I was saying. But if Auburn can't slow down Quin Jackson, if they don't have an answer for Quin Jackson, it's going to be a huge favor for Arkansas, because when he starts running well, that's going to make Tauren Green feel a little bit more comfortable. That's going to make the defense kind of be on their heels a little bit more. Quin Jackson, to me, for Arkansas at least, is the key to this game. If he has a big game, Arkansas has a big game.
Yeah. So, I'm looking here at the availability report. They have him listed as probable. I did see during the UAB game, he was out for a little bit with like a arm, wrist. I don't know what the actual issue was, but he came back and played in that game and didn't seem to be having any issues subsequent to that. Have you heard anything about what the injury could potentially be that has him, maybe taking it lighter this week? I think the probable listing there is more of out of precaution than anything. He's going to play,
Oh yeah, he'll for sure play. From my understanding is that, of course, Sam Pittman's always very, very close to the chest on injuries and always has been. But from my understanding, at least what kind of got him was in that Oklahoma State game, he was suffering from some cramps, and whatever it was that happened with that, because he still kept playing because he's tough. He is a tough kid. From what I would guess is that something from that cramps or those cramps that he was having made the injury maybe a little bit worse, or the nagging of it a little bit worse, trying harder to get over right now, soreness, whatever it may be. But yeah, he's gonna play. They've been trying to make it sure that he takes it easy on him, but yeah, he's a guy that I'm not too worried about when it comes to toughness. I've seen his toughness. I've seen some of the stuff he does, and he's gonna have to go out there on one leg before he ever comes out of the game. That's for sure.
John, talk to me about Travis Williams' defense here. A second year there in Fayetteville, former Auburn alum, player, and coach. What's the feeling in Fayetteville about how that defense is doing there? I mean, allowed 869 yards through these first 3 weeks, 289 yards per game. The rush defense is looking pretty good, third in the conference. The pass defense leaves something to be desired. What do you see there on defense for Arkansas?
Well, the pass defense having something to be desired is just a tradition here at Arkansas. I mean, it just seems like it's every year. But no, I think everyone really likes Travis Williams, in all honesty, here at Arkansas. They like his energy. They like his approach. They like, because when he took over as the defensive coordinator, Arkansas was one of the worst. No, it was the worst pass defense in the country by far. And he came in last season. I'm not saying Arkansas had this elite defense, but the progress that Arkansas made in just 1 year under him was light years ahead. It was an incredible thing. But what I like about him is the fact that, yes, that you mentioned it, how great they've done against the run. And also, people got to remember, too, it's not just, they did good against UAPB or whatever. They held the Doak Walker Award winner, Ollie Gordon, to 2.8 yards a carry.
Yeah.
Like they can lock down some runners, and they know how. The pass defense, and it's almost kind of misleading because Arkansas, as I saw, they're 14th in the SEC in pass defense. It doesn't seem like they are, because it's not great, but no one's looked at it as like, oh man, this pass defense is trash. It hasn't been that bad, but the numbers speak for itself, and that's the case. But the problem is, at least in this game, is not having Jalen Braxton and Hudson Clark. I'm telling you right now, if you're Auburn, and if you're an Auburn fan and you're watching this game and you're feeling good about your quarterback change with Hank Brown and all of that, he should have a field day in this game.
That's why we invited you on, John. That's exactly what we needed to hear. That is why. I knew it.
But that's the key. If he doesn't, he ain't gonna get it. You need to go back to the corner.
Well, I'll tell you.
I mean, the pass rush will have something to do with that.
Yeah, sure. There are two pass defenses in the conference right now worse than Arkansas's, and one of them is Auburn. As a matter of fact, they're dead last right now, and Hugh Freeze has been beside himself with how poorly the DBs have played. They don't get their head around. They're not playing with poise, he said. They don't play the ball very well. So I'll tell you, if there were a game where Tauren Green were going to go wild as well, this might be it. Now, Auburn gets Kay and Lee back, and I think we might see a little bit of a shuffle in that secondary. There was some word that they might move Keontae Scott from corner to nickel and try to find, because I think Keontae at corner, and I can attest to this if he agrees, has been a little bit of a disaster to start this season. I don't think it's gone well, and they're still searching for something there on defense. Now, from a scoring perspective, they are keeping people off the scoreboard for the most part. Against that, in that loss to Cal, they gave up 21 points, but 14 of those were off terrible turnovers by the offense. And Cal was only really able to drive down the field one time. So it's kind of a bend but don't break situation. So I was intrigued by the dichotomy between, what Arkansas has done against the run and what they're doing versus the pass there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for all intents and purposes, Arkansas's pass defense, especially without those two guys being in the lineup, it's been bad, just to be honest. Nico Slaughter, who's a transfer from Tennessee, he's been picked on a lot. Jaheim Singletary, another one that was a former 5-star transfer from Georgia. He was okay, but then it's almost like he regressed a little bit. So there's some problems there, and that's where it's so funny how there's so many similarities between these two teams because you guys mentioned the pass defense and the struggles, and then you mentioned the pass rush. Well, neither of these teams get any pressure on the quarterback like that. Then Arkansas hasn't. Landon Jackson, who was a preseason All SEC player, he's missing. I don't know what's happened to him.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Landon Jackson. I thought he was going to have a phenomenal year, and it hasn't panned out to be that way so far.
Yeah, and it's weird because he's been playing. He hasn't been hurt. It's just hadn't been getting it done. And so that's another thing for both these teams where I have a feeling that this game is either going to be the type of game where just the defense is optional, just passing it all over the field and up and down the field and all that, or it's going to be just the ugliest, most disgusting game where you have turnovers and penalties and just 20-17 final score type of thing. Like I feel like it's going to be one or the other.
Yeah, it's funny. So our guy Chris Phillips from SEC Unfiltered called this game yesterday with me on our power ranking segment, and he was thinking 24-17. Charlie 5 over at Locked On is thinking the same thing as well too. And I feel like maybe one of these teams breaks 30 points. I think one of these teams, I think the losing team is going to be the one that doesn't break 30 points in this one. But there's a chance there could be a little bit of an offensive explosion in this one with these terrible secondaries. I mean, you're telling me Hank Brown's Heisman campaign should start this week versus Arkansas. And Auburn, it just feels like mobile quarterbacks are having their best throwing day ever versus this secondary right now. Cal's quarterback, played out of his mind for a whole half, right? Dampier got loose. They couldn't tackle him, and he was making amazing throws down the field. I'm going to be interested to see how both these defenses hold up, and this might come down to which defensive coordinator can make the best halftime adjustments, at the half.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could see that, or it might just come down to, whenever the officials want to help out Auburn, because that seems to be pretty common these days in every game that Arkansas is a part of. So,
listen, if the officials want to help Auburn out, then I'll foot the bill for a little bit of that because Auburn needs to get back in the win column versus a Power 4 opponent. Because it's been few and far between here in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, John. And after they do, make your way over to the Rage Room. I don't know if you've done this before, but you can just break stuff in anger. And
are you going to be at the game, John?
No, I am not. I'm not. I went to Stillwater and I'm going to Arlington. Thank goodness for the last time next week.
Okay.
So, but no, I've been to Auburn before, but not going this weekend. No.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
All right. Before you get out of here, John, you said it's going to be a 20-17 kind of game in your mind. I don't know if you've already given your prediction over there on Locked On Razorbacks, but what are you feeling about this one? Does Arkansas have a chance to pull out their the win here?
I mean, listen, I think that they can, but they do dumb stuff, so probably not.
This feels very Auburn-esque.
Because
a lot of
fans
feel the same way.
Yeah, it's like they against Oklahoma State is a perfect example. Like they did so many great things. The offense was great. The defense was shutting down their best player.
Okay,
but just the dumb stuff happened that makes them lose. So. Until they prove otherwise, I think that's how Razorback fans are right now. It's like until you show it, we're not going to believe it. So. I'm going to keep picking Arkansas to lose. I think it's going to be a close game. It'll probably be a game. Arkansas has like a 28-3 lead at halftime. And then Arkansas scores 3 points the rest of the way. And Auburn wins like 38-34 or whatever that score would be. I don't know. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be a game that is, if I'm looking at my trends right, Arkansas is going to come out swinging. They're going to get up. They're going to quiet the crowd. It's going to be a good game for Arkansas in the first half. Second half starts a little rocky, but Arkansas maintains it. And then either a scoop and score or a pick six or a blocked field goal or something is going to swing the momentum. And Arkansas is going to crumble, absolutely crumble at the end. And Auburn's going to pull it out and find a way. Like, that's just how
listen, if this year goes how it has been going, it has been a tale of two halves for Arkansas, whether it is starting really slowly and then pouring on late, or starting really quickly and then looking absolutely awful on the back half of it. So Arkansas has yet to put together 4 quarters of football this season. other than the first game where they absolutely massacred a team that couldn't fight back. But I was going to ask you another question, and I completely blanked on what it was.
While you're thinking that, John, I got Auburn winning this one 31-24. I think that it is a game going into the fourth quarter. Everybody is sweating their balls off, and Auburn finds a way with Hank Brown's first SEC start. You gave me a little bit more confidence too. I'm not gonna lie. I came into this thinking John's going to give us a compelling argument for why Auburn is going to get run off the field. And
have you watched Arkansas?
Well, again, have you watched Auburn?
Hey, listen, I saw Auburn just destroy Arkansas last year, and Olin should have beaten Bama last year. So
yeah, look,
the road team has looked the best in this series.
Yeah, true.
Which is weird, and it makes no sense whatsoever. I don't understand it, but this is like, I mean, I remember watching Auburn games way back when. I mean, Fred Talley just running all over Auburn back in the early 2000s. I remember Mitch Mustaine and 06, and Darren McFadden running on the number 2 Auburn Tigers in 06. You know, I remember like all these different random games, but I felt like all the greatest Arkansas Auburn games, at least for Arkansas' sake, were always at Auburn. They were never at home in Fayetteville. Yeah. It's been weird.
Yeah, it's definitely been a series where the home team has, for whatever reason, come out lackluster. So we'll see what happens in this one. Before you get out of here, John, tell the people if they want to keep up with what you got going over on Locked On, how they can tap in with you.
Yeah. You can check out my daily podcast, Locked On Razorbacks. Been doing it for a long time. It's the number 1 Razorback podcast in the world. At least that's what Locked On told me. So I'm going to roll with it. It's you can find all my podcasts over there. You can follow me on social media. It's at John Neighbors Show. I also am the owner and operator of Inside Arkansas, which is a website dedicated to covering all things Razorbacks. We do a live stream show every day at noon called Inside Arkansas Live. So, a lot of Razorback content. So pretty much if you can't find me, that's a you problem because I'm everywhere over here in Arkansas.
There you go.
We're going to have to get you to come back once we start talking a little basketball because I feel like the folks down there in Fayetteville are fired up about this coming basketball season. So definitely going to have to get in there and talk about that a little bit. John, appreciate you coming on and talking with us tonight. Always a pleasure, man. Those of you who are out there in this land of YouTube, if you haven't already, make sure you get your comment over there in the community section because we are going to be doing this drawing here in just a second. I don't know if Mike G's ready, but if he is, we're going to get straight to it.
I'm ready.
Somebody's got to win some tickets to see Auburn play Arkansas. Mike G, who will have the honor of getting these free tickets to the game?
Ike. First draw tonight is our guy James Moore -CW5JK.
I have no idea who that is. That is a new name for me.
But he won. But James, you got to be here to win. James Moore -CW5JK. You got a couple minutes here before we move on to our next potential winner.
All right, well, let's get over here into the comment section to see what everybody's talking about. We'll start with a super chat here from B Will's Forehead, who says,
he's here. He's here.
Awesome. All right. We'll come back to that. Tell the people or tell James what he needs to do to claim his tickets.
James, you know the deal, man. Email us, business@thewarreport. We got ways of verifying your identity. So just email us, business@thewarreport. Ike and I will get back to you and we'll get those tickets over to you. Congratulations, my friend. You are going. James, if you're still here in the comment section, let us know who you're taking to the game with you.
The first time ever Auburn will be playing Oklahoma in a regular season
That's
game.
Historic.
James gets 2 free tickets to it.
They're great
courtesy
seats, by the way,
of you guys here at the Warport. All right, let's get back to this. B Will's Forehead says, can't wait for a touchdown from Hank Downtown Brown to our new elite tight end, Jaden Muskrat.
Downtown Brown. Okay.
Hogs don't know what hit him. If for those of you who don't get what he's saying or understand what he's saying here, Coach Hugh Freeze during the week talked about because of the injury to Brandon Frazier that they would be moving Jaden Muskrat over to be a part of the 3 tight end package that they like to utilize. They're going to have him available to be able to play in that package. So he's going to be doing some splitting his time in the tight end room, but it's only for that specific package. So he's not just going to be out there running routes or anything. But in the heavy package goal line situations, Jaden Muskrat expected to be the fill-in for Brandon Frazier. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We got Ben Bloodworth with the super chat who said, we played Florida twice since 2010, but we don't get to play them this year. A shame.
Yeah, well, they'll probably rotate them on in another 2 years. We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see what they do there.
B. Will's forehead with another chat here says, Hank Downtown Brown gonna fry up some hog on Saturday. Auburn family, one of them's gonna be our own brand new tight end, Jaden Muskrat. He's really on this Jaden Muskrat tight end thing.
You know what? Again, talking to John, Hank Downtown Brown might catch on after the game if those DBs are as bad as John is saying. It feels like a setup. Like,
listen, Oklahoma fans like this is
like a setup.
This is different for me with Oklahoma fans feeling so down on their, like, even when Oklahoma's bad, I feel like Oklahoma fans are like, but we're gonna kill you guys. And it just doesn't, I don't feel that energy right now from Oklahoma. And it's because of I said Oklahoma like 15 times in Arkansas. And I don't feel that energy from the Arkansas fans, even though they're typically not like that. So yeah, this is new. This is new for us, but they didn't feel very good walking into Jordan-Hare Stadium 2 years ago, and they beat the brakes off of Auburn. But very different circumstances then, very different locker room. Didn't talk about this because it wasn't out at the beginning, but listed here on the availability report for Auburn, Cam Coleman is listed as questionable for the game Saturday.
Okay.
Antonio Kite, questionable. Alex McPherson, questionable. And Isavion Miller, questionable. The probables for this game, Kayan Lee and Champ Anthony.
They playing games with this availability report.
Listen, man, I don't like Antonio Kite and Kayan Lee and Champ Anthony all being on this, though. As thin as Auburn is at DB, I don't even like them being on this.
Free said he expects Kayan Lee to play Monday.
Probable is the most likely scenario. Means they're probably going to play, but I don't like Antonio Kite and Champ Anthony even being on this.
Oh, I'm telling you, they're playing games with this availability report. This is some pro stuff. Yeah. You know what? Belichick used to put the whole team on the injury report. Tom Brady was like listed on there every week or something.
Yeah. And then of course out are Tyler Scott and Brandon Frazier and then doubtful Amaris Williams. I don't know what he's dealing with, but he hasn't been playing very much, and he is doubtful to play. Let's get some more chats in here. True Beast says, man, I hope they get rid of that 3-3-5 defense. A lot of people not feeling the 3-3-5. Yeah, it's a popular sentiment. I don't know that it's the right sentiment, but I understand why people feel the way they feel, because a lot of people just feel like you can't stop the run versus the 3-3-5 with the 3-3-5. Let me just say this. How Arkansas plays offensively, a 3-3-5 is not how Auburn's going to line up. I can tell you that off the top. Arkansas is going to play a lot of heavy personnel, a lot of 2 tight end stuff. They're going to line up in the freaking under center, and they're going to be power toss sweeps type of stuff. Auburn's not going to play a 3-3-5 against that. The 3-3-5 was specifically, or that 3-down lineman front that they were playing, is specifically because of the way that New Mexico plays defense. They wanted to play something that allowed them to have more guys in space. It's not the same kind of offense they're going up against this week, so I think everybody can rest assured that that is not the defense that they're going to try out there this week. It's back to more of that 4-2-5 presentation with an even front presented. That's just my opinion. You know, I don't know everything, but I don't feel like it's going to be that. Let's see. Ben Bloodworth jumps back in. Factional, we finally have a game without a turnover.
I don't know, man. I'm worried about fumbles by the running back.
I don't know how I feel about this turnover situation. Has been ridiculous. The first game
run defense has been good. Yeah, like I don't know.
2 inexplicable turnovers at the end of the game. Then, Peyton Thorne goes absolutely interception crazy in game 2 with an additional fumble there by Jarquez. Game 3, you've got really what amounts to 3 fumbles in that game. One of them you recovered. Now one of them, I get it. It was raining, all that kind of stuff, but it still was a fumble turnover. And then you had the muff punt. That's another thing that Coach Freeze was talking about this week, as far as the punt return situation, about potentially trying out some different guys back there if Keontae Scott doesn't get it together. So we'll see what happens with that. I am looking forward to the thing that Mike G has been campaigning for a few weeks now, and that is this proposed block on the call sheet that is dedicated to one Malcolm Simmons.
We need it. We need it. We need Malcolm in the game every single snap. That should be the package. The package should be all the snaps. He's just so dynamic with the ball in his hands. He's electric, and you just gotta find ways to get your playmakers on the field. One thing that I thought was interesting that Hugh Freeze said on Monday was he said we got to get out of this whole if we're worried if we put him in he'll do the wrong thing mentality, and we just have to find a way to get him on the field. He's too good. You're an SEC play now, right? So look, it's funny when he was talking about Malcolm Simmons, he said he goes 100 miles an hour, but sometimes it's just doing the wrong thing. But he had a huge smile on his face while he was saying it. And this coach loves him some Malcolm Simmons. I know. I think we're going to see Malcolm a lot more on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing. I honestly, think that the initial plan was to kind of just hold back some of this stuff and unleash it during SEC play. And maybe that's been delayed a little bit because they're trying to not put too much on the shoulders of Hank Brown in this coming game. But I do expect to see some design stuff to get the ball in the hands of Malcolm Simmons at some point during this game. Or I'm honestly going to be a little disappointed if it doesn't happen. Like something where it's specifically like, oh, no, if it's a jet sweep like they did the little pop pass last game down there around the goal line, whether it's a bubble tunnel screen type situation, just get the ball in his hands and let him go be a playmaker. Looking forward to seeing that. But I love the attitude that Malcolm is bringing to it, where he's like, man, just put me on the field. I don't care if it's on punt block. I don't care if it's on kickoff return as the up man. I don't care. I just want to play football and I can contribute in some way. I like that kind of attitude from a player who absolutely has the ability to do whatever he needs to out there on the field. Thanks to Tiffany B giving 5 Warport memberships out here. Let's get this chat in here from DJ Hyatt says, just want to see our edge rushers to play as edge rushers. Ain't no way that happens again this week with a mobile QB. Yeah, I expect them to go try to get after Tauren Green this week. Yeah, I think they're going to really try to put pressure on him. But the thing is, you have to get there and make the tackle.
Yeah. You can't do what you did against Dampier. I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah, he was dancing.
That was legit crazy watching that guy run around. So hopefully they've got something, and then we'll see. DJ Durkin's 3-man front has taken a beating this week on social media from fans, and I wonder if Hugh Freeze is in there saying, "Hey, we got to switch it up. Like we're not getting any pressure. We're not getting the right kind of pressure on the quarterback. We're not getting to the quarterback." Tauren Green does pose problems with his legs. Not so much worried about his arm, but there's something about letting a mobile quarterback run around their back too much. They find ways to make plays, and you just have to limit that. Keep them in the pocket, force them to throw the ball. So, and halftime adjustments are great. But you know what's better is not having to make halftime adjustments because you played well in the first half.
Yeah. What's better than one billionaire? 2. So yeah, what's better than one good half of football? 2.
2 of them, right?
Ant Robinson says downtown Hank Brown TK started the name. So,
yeah, there you go. Listen, we'll credit you on social media.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll ever call him that, but I get where the name
Hank
comes
Brown.
from.
Hank Downtown Brown.
I like it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this game this weekend.
What was your score prediction?
I did not give a score prediction as of yet for this game.
I need it.
And that's where I was pivoting to next. This one's been difficult for me because, I have watched Arkansas play. I've watched 2 of their games. I've watched 2.5 of their games because I watched a little bit of that first game, and they have been very Jekyll and Hyde, particularly on offense. That run offense scares me a little bit for them this week. But I think that because they are a run heavy team and Auburn is going to be, I think Auburn is good at what they focus on defensively. Even though it was frustrating watching Dampier run around and make plays last week, they were focused on him not being a runner, meaning like design runs, him being in the read option stuff. They were just like, no, he's not going to run the ball. And to their credit, they limited his ability to run for the most part during that game. He just went crazy throwing the ball off script. I think this week, similarly, the Auburn defense is going to be focused on shutting down the Arkansas run game. With that being said, I think Auburn wins this game 28
Ooh.
to
What does the defense give up?
14. 28 to 14.
Okay, 14 points from DJ Durkin's defense to open SEC. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that better than my prediction. I
Yeah,
got to sweat until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think that the defense has been good at keeping people out of the end zone this year, and I might even alter that because that's giving them 2 touchdowns, and I really need to give them 2 field goals and a touchdown. So I'll change that to 13 for my prediction. They get 3 scores, but 2 of them are field goals. And yeah, I just don't know that. And I think they do most of their scoring in the first half, by the way. I think that they come out and score a lot in the second half. I don't think they score very much at all. Just the way that Auburn's defense has turned it on the second half of these games. I'm going to expect them to do the same here and figure out how to get, they're going to get cracked over the head a couple of times with some big runs. And then they'll figure it out in the second half, how to shut down that run game. War Eagle jumps in and says, "Come on, at Bankhead Brown, I'll take your cookie."
Okay. All right.
A little paraphrase of a TI.
There you go.
There. Brad Browning says, "Do y'all think that Auburn has a true nose tackle to make the 3-3-5 work?" True nose tackle is so like they're so rare in college football these days, just because there's so many spread offenses and you got guys who are big, but not guys who are really true nose tackles. I thought Philip Bleedy was going to be a guy that's going to be able to play that. They haven't played him on the interior as a nose tackle very much. They've got him out there playing as a DN/D tackle. And then Isaiah Rakes and Trill Carter are the other guys that I think fit that mold a little bit better. Isaiah Rakes is just now really rounding back into shape. He had been hurt a little bit towards the beginning of the end of fall, and really just getting back in there. So right now, the answer to that is no. I don't know that there's someone who is a true nose, but those are the 3 guys that I would look at to say those are the ones that you would want to do that. But again, I don't expect Auburn to be in a 3-3-5. It's going to be a 4-2-5 this week, playing against Arkansas for as far as I can feel. Tiffany B calls him Baby Goat, which is the original nickname for Hank Brown out there. So hopefully he continues in his goatish ways. But that's it, man. You got any final thoughts before we get out of here, Mike?
Look, man, you got to get the win.
Yeah.
You can't be 3-2 headed into Oklahoma. Or 2-2. I'm sorry, 2-2.
Yeah, 2-2.
Yeah. 500.
No, we talked about before this
crazy.
season. In this first 5, you really wanted to be at worst 3-2, but 4-1 was where you really wanted
to be.
You've already blown it.
Yeah,
with losing the cap.
Yeah. So now starting the SEC play 2-0 has become mission critical. Find a way to get the win, beat an overrated Oklahoma team, and then because you might not win a game in the month of October. That's the reality Hugh Freeze is facing. So you made this switch with Hank Brown. Now he's not looking over his shoulders from what we know. This is his team. So they're going to live or die with Hank Brown on Saturday, and I'm buying stock. I like it, man. We explain this all the time to people. Sometimes the best guy is on the bench, and just because he didn't win it in practice doesn't mean he's not the best guy. Talent evaluation is not an exact science, and I'm happy that Auburn has a coach, whether you feel like he had a choice or not, that can pull this plug early here in the season while your season still has life.
Right.
Your season still has life, man. So that's all it is, right? Like it's do it now. You can always go back to Peyton Thorne. Curious that they sent Holden Gerner in to throw the Hail Mary at the end of the half.
I still don't know what the heck that was, bro.
Yeah, but okay, and then you go to other options. You got to keep this season together if you want to keep this recruiting class as is, right? And there's a couple of big targets out there that they're still trying to get this year too. So now proof of concept has become more important. You got away in year 1 by saying, "I don't have your talent," and how you lose is going to matter too when you do. Is Auburn losing getting the ball to their playmakers? A lot of that's going to have to do with how well Hank Brown plays, and I like him. I like him to step up and do this. I would love to see Hank Brown go into next season as the unchallenged starter. So you still get your high-profile quarterback in your recruiting class, and then you start a pipeline there with those guys. Hank plays another year, goes pro, wins a Super Bowl. Then it's Deuce Knight's team or Walker White's team. So let's see it. Let's see that, Q. Quarterback plays what you promised us in that opening presser. I develop quarterbacks. It's the first thing he said he does well. So it starts on Saturday. Start with Hank Brown. Because it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen a Hugh Freeze quarterback, Ike, from high school taking over a team. A lot of transfers in his time as head coach. Very few guys from high school. You recruited this kid from the 10th grade. You believed in him so much. And he followed you from Liberty to Auburn.
Right.
So now it's his time, and I'm glad that he's getting his shot. So, and I hope he plays well. I pray that, the blood of Christ covers Hank Brown on Saturday.
Listen, man,
health and a sound mind. Yeah.
I'm a fan of Hank Brown, and I
well, you said it. Hold on, wait, time out.
Yeah.
Ike Jones told y'all if Hank Brown wins this starting job, he's not giving it back.
I still believe it.
We got that on tape, people.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, go to Hank's Instagram, and there's a video playing with Ike's voice in the background saying just that. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm all the way over. I didn't see the path to this season. I didn't see it. Credit to those who did see it.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I will say. It's not that I didn't see the path to this. I didn't want to see that path because that path included what exactly happened.
Well, right. Yeah, it was
an inexplicable loss.
Someone's going to have to go wrong in these first games. Yeah. And you know what? A lot of people in our comment section right now said Hank Brown will be the starter by the time we get to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Raise your hand right now in the comments if you were one of those people.
It was Ant was driving that.
Yeah. Listen, credit to you guys. Credit to you guys. I did not see it. Now, every single one of you, go buy a lottery ticket right now.
I didn't want to see it because it included this Cal loss being in there. And I'm just like, no, we can't lose to Cal at home. And that's exactly what the F we did. And that Cal loss was clearly a byproduct of poor quarterback play. Clearly, like you can blame it on a lot of other stuff. You can't throw 5 picks in a game. I know one of them got caught. That's just, bro, like, no, I don't. Arm gets like other than your arm getting hit and a tip pass, like, all right, cool, fluky.
Right.
The rest of them, bro, and even the one where his arm got hit, that was on him. Like, it's just, no, we can't have that kind of quarterback play and expect to win football games. So that's the path that took us down that road. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. So like, I was blinded to, like, please don't show me him playing that poorly against any of these first 4 opponents.
Yeah.
Maybe against Oklahoma, you can stomach it because they're supposed to have a good defense, which they're kind of suspect on defense. But like, nah, bro, you can't have this versus these first 4. And that's exactly what he went out there and did in the second game of the season. He laid an absolute egg. And yeah, and here we are, Hank Brown.
Yeah. I hate that I was wrong about Peyton Thorne because of what it means for Peyton Thorne. But I also am simultaneously happy for the opportunity that Hank Brown is getting, because I feel like these opportunities don't come along often.
Yeah.
Right. It's not often that the third string guy from the previous year finds himself the starter before conference play.
Right.
Right. It's not like the season's already a disaster, so we might as well just give them a few games. No, Auburn's season still has meaning in life right now, and he's the starter. I went on WRBL, CBS, Channel 3, to talk about this is what they wanted to talk about. Hank Brown, like, who saw this coming? And there's only a few that felt like this was a possibility, and now it's here, and you got to get the most out of it. He doesn't have the same skill set. He can't run like Peyton, but I'm telling you, if he lets it rip, he goes through his reads, and he reads the field, and they call good plays. He doesn't have to be a good runner.
Right.
And your short passing game, which, he skipped a couple out there Saturday.
He did. He had a couple of bad throws.
Yeah,
about like
throws,
about 5 of them where I was like, yeah, that's not
you got to get that out of your system now. But that's why you play him this week so that he can get those out of. I think that's what everybody was worried about going into the game.
Right.
So I'm ready. I'm ready for the Hank Brown era. I hope that he takes full advantage of it, and I hope we're talking about Hank Brown in the NFL in a couple of years.
I would definitely be looking forward to seeing an Auburn quarterback flourishing in college and then subsequently going and playing well in the NFL. So hopefully Hank Brown can be the first of many. All right, let's get out of here, Mike. Tell the people about ways that they can make sure the War Report keeps the lights on.
Oh, first and foremost, we want to thank our title sponsor here, the Opelika and the Birmingham Rage Room. So if you're in the Auburn area or in the Opelika area, visit 1510 2nd Avenue, Opelika, Alabama. And if you're in the Birmingham area, hit downtown 2616 7th Ave. They got axe throwing at the Birmingham location. So split some wood up there and get some frustration out with the Birmingham Rage Room. We appreciate them for sponsoring the show. Guys, you guys know what to do, man. Patron memberships, all few signups today. So also I'm giving away. We need to continue to grow this community so we can bring you guys even more amazing content. I don't know how many of you guys saw my sit down with Taylor Davis, but you seem to really, really like that content. The more you guys sign up, the more you hit like and subscribe, the more we can bring that sort of talent on to talk to you guys about it. In this particular case, she had just sat down with Hugh Freeze right before she sat down with me. So you guys got the fresh scoop on what was going on in the quarterback room heading into last Saturday's game. You can also hit that gifted membership button to give some gifts of the War Report. I want to thank show sponsor Autograph. Visit the Autograph app in your phone's app store. Use referral code REPORT. We had this on the screen for most of the show, so you can go back, scan that QR code, but make sure you use that referral code, guys. We need 100 of you guys to do this month. This costs you absolutely nothing, but all your Auburn sports content is there right in the app. Check us out on podcasts, every single podcast platform. We are there bringing you guys lots of great audio-only content. Visit the Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 20% off. And if you're in the Auburn area looking for some good eats, our guy Randall Baldwin over at Vintage 2298 East University, go visit them. They got the best eats in town.
Yes, indeed. Share the video before you guys get out of here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can follow us on social media. We are at The War Report on Twitter and Instagram, TW Report on TikTok. We'll be back at you guys with more content this week. Don't think we are done dropping content about this Arkansas game this week. We got plenty more for you. Make sure you're checking us out over there on podcast as well. And we'll be back at you guys. If nothing else, make sure you are right back here at 2 p.m. with the pregame. Caesar, B. Will, probably some other guys from the podcast network will be on talking final thoughts for this here Arkansas game. But we're out of here, y'all. Until the next time, and as always, War Eagle.